It's pride. It's pride. You're allowed to engage in a little bit of trouble. Resident of number 9 is either very popular or doesn't care about collecting their posts. Still nothing for me though. Will she ever write me back? Huh. Ooh. Ooh, biology facts. Interesting. Very interesting. Yes, yes. Let's put on some tunes. Meow. Close that. I was telling my friend about trichoderma. No, not trichoderma. Trematodes. Sorry. But I don't think I will talk about trematodes with you. I think I'd like to tell you about... In honor of Pride, can we talk about... Can we talk about sequential hermaphroditism? I was learning about fish. While I was cleaning my rice, I happened to be getting kind of into fish, just on a whim. This is specifically for clownfish. Let's do... Can we get an image? This image sucks. This image sucks. Let's get a good image. Is this... This is one. This is specifically bluehead wrasse. I want to find a good graphic for you guys. This is good. So, yeah, sorry about teasing you about trematodes. Maybe I'll talk about them next time. If you redeem a biology facts, perhaps I'll tell you about trematodes, but it's a little gross. It's a little gross. Anyway, what makes... Well, first of all, what makes somebody a hermaphrodite? Class, would anybody like to answer the question of what makes somebody a hermaphrodite? All biology? I guess so. All biology could be gross. Something about... Not really. Not really. So, let's actually start with this. What makes somebody, biologically speaking, not separate from, you know, cultural understandings of what gender or sex mean? Because even our cultural understanding of sex is influenced by society and gender. When we talk about biology, you got two sex cells. One of them is big and round. I would call this one an egg because it's big and round and stationary. It doesn't move. I'm not sure how many times creatures have evolved egg cells. I think probably once in eukaryotes, or maybe multiple times in eukaryotes, but as far as most animals, there's only been one, this kind of an egg. I mean, anyway, there's also a small cell. I'm not gonna, hope I don't get TOS'd for this. There's also a smaller cell that has like a little whip on it. We call this a sperm cell, but it's kind of arbitrary which one is, because there's some organisms there's some organisms where the gametes look the same. Like, they don't always look like this. Sometimes they look similar in shape. Like, you got some critters where they both wiggle around, and like, which one is male, which one's female, it doesn't really matter, you know? So, like, it's kind of arbitrary. it's more just like morphologically speaking, one of them is round and large and the other one is squiggly and small, and that's the sperm. Okay, so but in biology, if an organism has cells that are capable of making the big round one, we call them female. And if they're capable of making the little squiggly one, we call them male. But like, that's it. That's pretty much it. I mean, most mammals, like actually all mammals, most vertebrates are only ever gonna make one or the other, just because. Capable of making. No, but that's really it. It's like they have evolved to be capable of making that kind of a cell. And some creatures still have information to make both. And for example, like this clownfish here has, they're genetically able to make both of them, but there's just certain social factors that trigger their body to make one or the other. But like their body both has. Girl, you're gonna make me crazy is what you're gonna make. Like, what makes a male and what makes a female is really just about practical stuff in biology. Anyway, with this clownfish here, he's got all the genetic information to make the big round one, to make the little squiggly one. But like, I guess I said he, but just that's a social. I did miss you. Well, it depends. I mean, sometimes if you want to keep them separate, just to increase chances for like genetic recombination and diversity. It really depends. If they're hermaphroditic, a lot of times things won't change as much because they'll be, breeding with themselves, which is likely to cause problems. They won't be as able to adapt to long term. The goal of meiosis in general is genetic recombination, but the advantage to the advantages to not being, I guess we call gonochorous, having males and females. That's a word for you, gonochorous. That's a big word for Elmo. Gonochorism. That's a big word for Elmo. Anyway, yeah, thanks Glitch. Happy Pride, Glitch. Yeah, so basically this is mostly just to increase like chances for like, what's the word when things get rough, when things get hard, you're better able to adapt. Things tend to stay more the same when you're hermaphroditic, but sometimes you could separate. You could do this thing called sequential hermaphroditism. Yeah, diversifying and adaptation. Yeah, hermaphroditism is more likely. It's similar to asexual reproduction, but it has a little bit more adaptation to asexual reproduction because it's still sexual. Hermaphroditism is still sexual, but you are more likely to keep the genes all in one place. It's more likely to stay the same over because you might even be able to self-breed. There's definitely advantages to separating the sexes through gonochorism, or separating things through time, throughout the life cycle, like in sequential hermaphroditism. But I guess the point of what I'm trying to say is that the fish starts as a male and becomes a female. Thanks, Slash. Thanks, Slash. I appreciate that. That make me laugh. Yeah, but like, don't get too hung up on whether you're male or female, like in the social sense. Like, because it's just one of them's big and round and one of them's small and squiggly, and there are advantages to separating, the organisms having two separate sexes where each one is male or each one's female, where it's really usually favored for like being able to adapt to change over the long term, but it's not necessary. I mean, you could be asexual, you could be parthenogenic. These like Deloid rotifers over here, they've been doing this strategy that most biologists say sucks, because they just basically they cut their genes in half and then have a way of just like copying them over and over again. I don't know. It sounds bad, but it actually works out. Monkey with normally high. Socially, I am a... Exactly. Like these girls, they just be reproducing themselves, and you know, they've been able to adapt fine. They've been able to live through the centuries just fine, you know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know. It's all dumb. We have all these social understandings of like sexuality where we feel like it's all written in stone, but that's usually for some kind of a social purpose. Like, literally speaking, it's just like there's organisms that make the big round one and make the little squiggly one, and like there's an advantage to keeping those in separate organisms. But like there's some critters that have the ability to make both, but they just separate it within one organism through time, and there's some organisms that have both and can even fertilize themselves. Yeah, anyway, I don't know what I'm even trying to say. I think that our human understanding of even the importance of being able to create eggs or sperm is also very... We can't separate it from our cultural like understanding of sex and gender. Like, I feel like the human word for sex is still part of gender because of just everything we're ever going to see is through... We're always going to be tainted by society, because whatever. Anyway, I just talked a lot. Anyway, thank you for receiving my biology fact. So I like clownfish and stuff. I hope I didn't bore you. Let's turn off this music. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.